Part 2.
As we were talking before about Nepal, can you continue and talk about another place that you visited?
Well, most recently I've been in Saudi Arabia, and I had lots of really great experiences there.
Where were you?
But I was in Riyadh, in the capital, and it's easy to get anywhere else in the country. All the roads are great from there. So I was at
Can you describe, what is Riyadh? What is it?
Well, Riyadh's a big city. It's a mega city. It's got millions of people. It's very modern and very traditional at the same time, because of places like Mecca that are in Saudi Arabia. So it has a nice combination of the old and the new. When you fly in, though, and you're visiting friends or you're teaching, and as I was in Saudi Arabia, I had to learn a lot about protocol, what manners and things, but also found people so very generous with their time and interest in others. So I found it very easy to learn in, and I enjoyed the teaching experiences quite a bit. It looks like any big city, honestly. I mean, there are these skyscrapers everywhere downtown. The university itself, I suppose, it was the bit large. They built it as the largest women's university in the world. I'm talking about the area, but actually it is. It's palatial. The architects came from all over the world, and Saudis chose different designs. They have a replica of the Blue Mosque in Istanbul as the university mosque, and it is two sides. It's absolutely beautiful, except it's of course made with modern materials, but you wouldn't know looking at it. It's just absolutely beautiful. I'm sure people can search and find it. Instead of blue, though, it is in a pink and almost golden, different colors for the roofs. Very beautiful. And a lot of people from the communities around there attend, as well as the university professors and their families living on campus. So it was a really amazing, stunning place to go to for me. Even though it's somewhat traditional, I called it a palace, there are very modern touches all over the place. There's a tram that takes you around the campus. And the one in Riyadh itself that's probably nearing the end of construction right now is built on that model, which is a Swedish model. And the train conductors, the women who run the trains, often run it remotely, although they do check it frequently to make sure everything's working. They were trained also in Sweden. They were trained there. Anyway.
Why did you decide to go to Riyadh?
Oh, okay. So there are a lot of reasons. My son had some Muslim American friends, and I asked them, that I didn't know a lot of the rules, but I felt I was a respectful person. Would it be okay for me to go as a non-Muslim still? And they said, sure. It's the desert, but it's also a modern city, so there's a lot of restaurants, and people travel. They love to travel. They travel with their families. There are many big holidays, so they encouraged me to apply and go, and I was quite honored when I actually was selected to go teach there at the beginning of the second year that the school had opened.
How long did the selection process take from the first time you applied?
I think, well, as I said, it was early, and they had, we're using a middle person school in New Zealand, Auckland, to recruit, and so it was very quick. We had to get certain documents, like in any English teaching job abroad, medical check, police check. We had to make sure that our degrees were verified, and there was a process for that. But actually the Saudi Education Office in the US took care of most of the document checking. So basically I was in touch with those people on the phone a couple of times, and it was all done by mail. It was really quick. I would say about, it wasn't overnight by any means, but it was a couple of months.
Where were you living at the time you started?
Looking? I was teaching in China and Beijing at the time. I was finishing a year there, yes.
Well, I'll ask you about Beijing another time.
Okay.
Let's continue with Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So how did you prepare for it? I'm talking about, did you read a lot about Saudi Arabia?
Oh, yes, I
Your
certainly
preparation.
did.
What about your preparation?
Oh, right. Well, I was at that time, in Beijing. I looked up everything I could online about Saudi Arabia. I downloaded some things on my Kindle about history, recent history, past history, when it became an independent country. And it was very interesting. And of course, the long, thousands of years histories of the Silk Road were very interesting to me. And anyway, so yeah, I was amazed. There's so much information.
Tell me about the Silk Road that you mentioned, which
Road?
is very famous. Tell me about Silk Road.
Well, it's interesting. I don't think it actually, I guess over land it did go through what is now Riyadh, which wasn't then. But all the ports, major ports, are still, like Dammam in Mecca, Medina, Jeddah, were used and have been used for centuries and centuries. I have only been to Dammam once, and but I can see now that Riyadh is the hub. It's not just government and universities that people are attracted to and move there generally for their children, but also it's a great marketplace. Also, all the big markets are there for gold and textiles and electronics. So, and there are varying levels of that. You can get any price you want, but also the quality varies. And there's quite a lot of. Did you go to Jeddah? You would think I would have by now. There were many people came from Jeddah to my classes, or even teachers came back and forth, but I had not been to Jeddah, sadly.
Briefly, what is Jeddah?
Right. So Jeddah is a beautiful city on the Red Sea there, and it's right across from Sudan, and it's supposed to be very beautiful. It's the people, for what I've read, it's have their own ethnic habits and traditions, and they don't always agree with the rest of the country, for example, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, for example, the abayas that women wear, the capes in Jeddah alone, it's okay, it's acceptable to have more colors on your abaya. And everywhere else in Saudi, it is not, unless you're just moving from car to school or something, and you're outside for a very short time. But so they have their own folk art and foods and traditions and ways of talking. I've heard that are a little different, but basically it's a big city as well. It's still part of Saudi Arabia very much. People like it. It's on the water. And it's very humid though there, if you like more of a tropical instead of dry weather. So it gives a different kind of place in Saudi Arabia that unlike any other place, I would say.
What-
But I wish I'd gone, but then there were so many places to go because Saudi Arabia is right between, it's south of Europe, it's south of Turkey, it's right next to Africa, it's right next to, it's near Europe, it's near other countries in the Middle East that I was very interested in, like Oman, and that I went to and really found very beautiful, also with mountains and ocean. But we were too busy.
What
I
about-
wish I had gone to Jeddah.
You mentioned the abaya and other places. What
Right.
is the basic color?
The basic color is black.
Is black.
Right, and you can have some trim legally, and that's acceptable. And but I've seen it changing, so possibly the laws have changed, and I have not caught up. So that is
Did you have
possible.
a chance to go to the empty quarter?
I wish. I've only flown over it,
You
and
might
I've heard
explain what it is.
stories. Okay, the empty quarter is the real desert, the deep, deep desert between Saudi Arabia and the south, Oman and
Yemen.
Yemen, right? And Yemen there, of course, Yemen, is also a part of the many Yemenis in Yemeni people in Saudi Arabia, so they are practically Saudis. And the same with Omanis, although Omanis are pretty much busy working on so many projects in Oman that we don't see them too many in Riyadh. At least I didn't. I'm sure they're there.
Did you see the
They're
movie
neighbors.
years ago, Lawrence of Arabia?
Yes, I loved that movie, right? And then since then,
Did that bring back memory?
it sort of looked like, right, so then
empty
the
quarter?
desert, right, empty quarter, all that empty space as you fly over between Riyadh and Muscat, Oman, you can see it and it almost looks like a checkerboard of sand. It's very beautiful, but very dangerous as well. I wouldn't want to be stuck there anytime. However, I know that from students, at least other faculty that have been my students at Princess Noor University, that indeed there is a patrol there to help people who are in parts of the desert and lost. So they're kind of like a National Guard. And they keep a lookout, and they have technology, but they also are guards and ride on camels and across the desert in teams and check on people that everything is okay. So it's-
Years ago, I flew from Egypt across to Bahrain.
Oh, you
And
did?
it was over the desert.
Oh.
And this was only just looking down at the desert. And you could definitely see it was a desert. From Egypt to Bahrain. But I never got a chance to get off the plane.
Oh.
So what would you say to Koreans who wish to visit Saudi Arabia?
Okay, well, for the first time that I've ever heard of, they're actually accepting tourist applications for people to go. But I would say read as much as you can before you go. It's certainly an adventure. And if you know anyone or have friends of friends there, please contact them. Then you will get the real view of the best foods and best places to go. But I would say they should do it, if possible, get a tourist visa and go visit for a couple of weeks. You will be changed. You will feel, oh my goodness, these are really nice, friendly, and well-educated people who want to practice English too. So.
One of the things about deserts in the world, I've been to quite a few, including the Gobi in Mongolia, is the talk about the heat.
Oh yes.
Which you mentioned about the heat.
Okay, well, okay. Of course it is a desert, and even Riyadh in, I would say, early summer, I've been there through July, the temperature can get up around 50 degrees centigrade, so which is like 110 or so Fahrenheit. So yeah, that's, but as I said, the air conditioning is very good. In that time, community where the kids go with families and travelers really go to the malls and hang out and eat there or near the malls. And as I said, there's many restaurants. There are restaurants from all over the world there, franchises, and excellent entrepreneurs everywhere. Saudis as well have gotten into that entrepreneurial spirit, especially in cooking, decorating, wedding preparation. Amazing. Let's see. So it's quite livable. It's quite livable then. There are taxis like Uber that can, if you don't have your own car, that can take you around. And even the campus got too hot to walk around to the classes. I had to call Uber a couple of times to get to the other side of campus.
You mentioned also that Saudi Arabia is across from Sudan and East Africa. Now, how much contact between, say, Sudan or Africa and Riyadh?
Oh, there's...
If people wanted to basically come through East Africa a little bit and come to Saudi Arabia, how much contact is there? I'm talking about airfare, or even possibly ship out of Jeddah. Do you know anything about that?
Right. I believe there are a lot of restrictions on that you can only fly.
Fly, okay.
Right. That's all that's allowed at the moment. That is interesting. I would say it's not as cheap as people expect, but it's not as expensive as visiting Dubai. But Dubai is worth it. So I think people should go to several countries if they're in the area.
You mentioned Dubai briefly. What is about Dubai?
Okay. Well, it's a lot smaller than Saudi Arabia, and it's there also on the Gulf. It's on the east coast there of Saudi Arabia, and it's a peninsula. It's very beautiful. It is what it looks like on TV, I think. It's got the tallest building in the world, and they've built a small man-made island around it, and it's beautiful. They've got such technology that they can simulate skiing, really skiing there. And
snow skiing?
Yes, snow skiing. They have fake mountains. It's kind of a Disney version, but my students have gone and they said it's worth doing. And but when I went, I really went to explore the what the land looked like, what the city looked like, what the restaurants were like. I heard the aquariums were incredible, and they're swimming with dolphins and all that. And
did you try to swim with the dolphins?
Actually, I ran out of time. I did that in Oman, though, which was brilliant. By the way, that whole area is kind of a dolphin spawning area, so it's amazing. There's thousands of dolphins all over the place.
Briefly, did you get a chance to go to Abu Dhabi?
I did not. I wish I had.
How much time did you spend in Oman?
I think I went there twice, and I spent a week each time.
Can you briefly talk about Oman?
Oh, yes, definitely. Also, unlike any other place, certainly really geographically unlike Saudi Arabia, the places that I've been in. It's not landlocked. I didn't experience any sandstorms there. They might have some. But even that is interesting. It's fascinating, I thought.
And Muscat?
Yes, I was in Muscat, and right along the coast, you can see as you walk or ride or anything, there are mountains. There's a mountain chain all along the coast. Right next to the roads almost. There's the city, which is the valley, but the mountain range is so large and tall that even though it's in the distance, part of it is in the city, and it just goes on the whole length of Muscat. It's just absolutely beautiful, stunning, unlike any place I've ever seen. Mountains are different wherever you go, and these were amazing. So I would say after Nepal, this was like the best place I've ever been.
Now, when people people think about the desert, they like to go out into the desert on trips. How easy was it to go on desert trips in either Oman or Saudi Arabia? It's
very easy because there are tourist companies that will take you, and they're very easy to find online. One is Hyatt Tours in Saudi Arabia. In Oman, you can find it through any hotel. That's what I found.
Roughly, what would the cost be, approximate?
Um,
In time period, maybe
right,
several
not
days?
much, not much. It depends on the length of time that you go. I did a lot of day trips for just $20. I mean, that included the bus in Riyadh. And then, but the longer overnight trips might be 500 or, you know, because you're going the distance, it would be a couple of days.
Okay, so there were many day trips then?
Yes, there were day trips that were.
How about
more difficult.
Oman? Did you go much outside of Muscat?
Yes, but I'm trying to think. I didn't get outside of Muscat is a very long city, so it felt like I was outside. I went to spas that were like a completely different experience, very, very large, almost like a palace as well. And it had its own, it was like a village with its own food and sports area and all outdoors. Trees were different and flowers. I'm trying to think. But I was just in Muscat. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it sounds like you had a very good time
Oh,
in
thank
Saudi
you.
Arabia and Muscat.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Ready for part 3 another time.